Hello and welcome to Granada Reports.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Coming up on the programme this evening.
There was moments where I'd try and sneak past his bedroom in the morning and I'd almost try and make myself as stuck to the wall as possible just to kind of get past his bedroom door.
Abused as a child by her dad, Trish had to fight to be heard. Now he's serving a jail sentence and she's urging survivors to speak out.
Caught in an undercover sting, now the former Conservative MP for Blackpool South, Scott Benton, quits Parliament. Another by-election on the way. We're live with the latest.
A big day for Barrow. Rishi Sunak announces a multi-million-pound boost for the local economy. But is everyone convinced it'll be enough?
There was a lot of pain, but what a gain. Meet Jasmine, the first woman ever to complete the 100-mile Barkley Marathons in America.
Enjoying their place in the pecking order, the new feathered friends living their best lives in a retirement village.
And in the weather, a bit of a miserable start to the week, but that didn't bother all of us. I'll have all the details for this Easter week coming up shortly.
So please do stay with us. But first tonight, a warning of some distressing content as a mother of 4 children speaks out about the sexual abuse she suffered at the hands of her father when she was a child.
Yeah, Trish Hind from Manchester had to creep past her father's bedroom so he wouldn't hear her. She tells us about the terrible, lasting impact.
In particular, how she was so traumatised that at first she was even worried to leave her husband alone with their baby daughter because of her mistrust of men.
But Trish also tells us how she's managed to build a new life as a happily married mother. And to help others, she's sharing her experiences in a book called Not My Fault.
She wants other victims and survivors of sexual abuse to speak out and name those who are hurting them. In her first broadcast interview, she spoke to our reporter, Zoe Muldoon.
I was sexually abused by my dad on a regular basis from the age of 6, which then ended in, things kind of getting a bit more severe, and it ended in actual rape.
Abused by the man who was supposed to protect her. For 3 years, Trish Hind suffered horrific sexual abuse at the hands of her father.
There was moments where I'd try and sneak past his bedroom in the morning and I'd almost try and make myself as stuck to the wall as possible just to kind of get past his bedroom door. More often than not that wouldn't happen, but I would try and just avoid as much as possible and just try and get downstairs out of the way. But yeah, that definitely didn't happen the majority of the time.
Trish reported the abuse to multiple people, including teachers, social workers and the police, but she says no one listened. After meeting husband Craig and having their first daughter, Trish realised her past was damaging her marriage and decided to go to the police.
I have an amazing husband and he's incredibly supportive. It was more just me and the way I was kind of looking at interactions with him and my daughter, and I didn't want him to, do things like bath her or change her nappy or, rough play with her as he would do the boys.
In April 2022, after a harrowing trial at Chester Crown Court, Gerard King was finally convicted for his crimes and sentenced to 15 years in prison.
When you came face to face with your dad at the trial, what was that like? Did he show you any remorse?
Not at all, no. Just recognised those really sunken eyes and I was like... So immediately I felt kind of fearful when I saw him, but there was also this moment of, God, I wonder if he's proud of the woman I am today. And it was this really strange moment of like, yes, he's this person who's done this horrible stuff to me, but he's also my dad. And it was a very strange moment.
The mum of 4 has now written a book about her journey through trauma to happiness. She hopes it helps others who've been abused.
I did it by myself, just me, and anybody can do that. Just keep reporting, and if you're not being listened to, shout louder. Because eventually somebody will go, okay, let's take this forward. But it's that thing of having that belief and having that strength to go forward and go, this has happened, we need to take action.
Speaking out has changed Trisha's life. It's hoped her story will give others the strength to come forward and realise that they too will be believed. Zoe Muldoon, ITV News.
Yeah, really powerful stuff, and our thanks to Trish for speaking out.
And of course, she's doing that in the hope that others will get help as well. So if you have been affected by any of the issues in Zoe's report, there's information on support available on our website. You'll find that at itv.com/Granada. Now, it's official. There is going to be a by-election in Blackpool after one of the town's MPs resigned.
Yes, Scott Benton, the MP for Blackpool South, had been suspended by the Conservative Party after being caught in a sting by a newspaper.
Our political correspondent David Wood is at Westminster for us this evening. So, David, did Scott Benton jump before he was pushed?
It certainly looks that way tonight, Lucy. Scott Benton has been under pressure for some time now. I think it's important to remind you of some of the background here. Just to briefly explain, that beeping is a tractor protest that's going on here in Westminster tonight. Angry farmers that are angry against government policy. A real reminder, I think, that Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister is under pressure, and a by-election in Blackpool South puts huge pressure on Rishi Sunak too. Let's talk about Scott Benton, though. He was suspended as an MP after the parliamentary authorities found him guilty of breaking Parliament's lobbying rules. That was after a sting in the Times newspaper. That suspension then triggered what's known as a recall petition in Blackpool South, and that meant that if 10% of constituents had signed that petition, it would have effectively sacked Scott Benton and triggered a by-election anyway. But that petition was still open and was due to be open until late April. So Scott Benton has sped this whole process up, writing to constituents today saying it's the honour of his life to have represented them for the past 4 years, but that he resigns with a heavy heart. To resign as an MP, you have to write to the Chancellor to apply for a job that effectively ends your parliamentary career. So he's been given the unpaid job with no work as the steward and bailiff of the Manor of Northstead. What that really means is right now there is no representative here of Blackpool South.
So, David, what happens now?
I understand that tomorrow Conservative MPs will start the process to trigger the by-election. That will be run by the local council, but it's likely that the date could be the 2nd of May, and that is significant because it's the day of local elections and Police and Crime Commissioner elections in much of England. The Conservatives are expecting a bad night in those elections. In the Blackpool South election in 2019, the Conservative majority was less than 4,000. They don't think they'll hold this seat in a by-election, so in a sense it gets all of the bad news for Rishi Sunak out of the way all in one night. So a sort of gift, if you like, from Scott Benton to his struggling former leader, Rishi Sunak.
OK, David Wood at a very noisy Westminster this evening. Thank you.
Yeah, well done to him for making himself heard over the tractors tonight. And the Prime Minister has been in Barrow to announce investment worth £200 million in the nuclear industry. Rishi Sunak and the Chancellor, Jeremy Hunt, made the announcement on a visit to BAE Systems, where 4 new submarines designed to carry Trident nuclear missiles are being built. He said the investment in Barrow would be over a decade and it would help to create thousands of jobs. But one of Cumbria's MPs says better infrastructure will be needed to support those plans.
Today we're making a transformational investment in our nuclear capability to safeguard the country's future, making sure, together with industry, that we create thousands more apprenticeships, graduate schemes, PhDs, building our nuclear skills base, but also investing in Barrow, which has been the home of our nuclear submarine manufacturing. The first one was made here, and it's important that Barrow remains a fantastic place for people to live, work and raise a family, because that will help keep our country safe in the long term.
So there's nothing today to help with new housing, affordable homes for local people so we can have a workforce that can afford to live there. Nothing really to invest in the kind of infrastructure we need to grow our hospitals, both in Kendal and Barrow. Nothing, for example, to take advantage of this new investment that would perhaps give us the tidal barrage that we need from Morecambe to Barrow that potentially could solve a transport problem as well as to create the kind of green energy we desperately need.
The government's minister has said he can't give any assurances over calls for a public inquiry into the murder of 2-year-old James Bulger after claims a number of issues were swept under the carpet. It's more than 30 years since James was killed after being abducted from a shopping centre in Bootle by 10-year-olds John Venables and Robert Thompson. MPs have been debating the case following calls from James's mother and a petition signed by more than 200,000 people.
The Tatton MP and Cabinet Minister Esther McVey says councils should get on with it and fix potholes. She joined forces in Lee when they were out resurfacing roads. The government say councils have been allocated more than £8 billion to repair the holes. That's despite many councils facing huge funding cuts next year.
I think what you've seen is, like in lockdown, lots of maintenance wasn't being done. So I think that's part of the issue. You also now know that electrical vehicles are really, really heavy. They weigh a tonne per car. But what we are saying is, because the pothole situation is so bad, there's no excuse for councils now not going out and filling them. They've had money last year, they've got it this year. And we want to be on the side of the motorist and make sure they're done.
Now, last night you may have watched ITV's new thriller Passenger, starring the ex-Coronation Street actor Jack James Ryan, who's from Prestwich in Greater Manchester.
Yeah, the North West talent doesn't end there, though. The writer is someone that we recognise too. He's Andrew Buchan from Bolton, who's acted in a number of hit programmes, including Broadchurch, The Honourable Woman and The Crown.
Well, as the series continues tonight on ITV1, our entertainment correspondent Caroline Whitmore caught up with him to find out more.
Welcome to Chadder Vale. Small town with small town issues.
You're my girlfriend, Katie, yeah? Leave us alone.
Passenger, brand new drama on ITV and ITVX. Andrew, this is your debut.
She's pointing. She
I'm
means
pointing.
it, doesn't she?
I'm pointing. Screenwriting debut. Are you nervous? We've seen you in so many other things, but you've always been acting.
Yeah, it is a bit nerve-wracking. It's an odd, exciting feeling. Seeing teams all behind the scenes, from costume to props, to bringing your tiny ideas to life. It's thrilling.
My daughter's missing. Someone's taken her. Katie!
Passenger is a 6-part, darkly comic thriller set in a fictional northern community that is suddenly faced with something terrifying and unknown. This gent plays John.
John! What did you do?
Well, if she would have come back, it wouldn't have happened.
What wouldn't have?
The emotions going again and again and again. Mesmeric.
Ah, that's nice to hear.
I'm blushing.
Yeah.
If he's angry, he's wrecking the joint, or if he's emotional, he is, bawling with tears. So to kind of reach those extremes take after take was really challenging, but a really exciting prospect as well.
This is your first thing since Corrie, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I was super lucky to get this, I think it was a month after I'd left. We've been working on this now for a long time.
Me and Jack were dancing to Lionel Richie at Lytham Festival, weren't we?
We were embarrassing ourselves a little bit.
And he told me that he was doing Passenger. It's a long old process, isn't it?
It is. From seed of idea to it being on screen is 4 years.
Because it's set in a fictional northern town called Chadder Vale.
Cheddar with an A.
Well, well, I'm from Oldham, and it reminded me of Chadderton.
I grew up in Bolton. Half my family's from Oldham. I've got mates peppered across the northwest.
We're practically family.
I know you.
Do you know what I mean?
I've always known you.
Practically family.
Yeah. As you well know, in the north, in the face of any adversity, the antidote to that is often humour. I was a proper giddy kipper when I first started writing it. I was like, can I tell you the ending now? And they were like, no.
Giddy kipper. That's got to be a northern
Giddy kipper. I think my auntie, Oldham, used to call me a bit of a giddy kipper when I was young.
People will obviously recognise you.
You're my boy, Danny.
Broadchurch, The Honourable Woman. What do you get on the street?
This happened a couple of times. I've known never to do this again. But they've gone, how do I know you? You reel off your CV and they go, oh, no, it's not that. It's not that. It's Tesco. I've seen you in Tesco. And you go, OK, then.
But Broadchurch, wow. Were you expecting that to go as big as it did?
No, not in any way, shape or form. No, it went stratospheric, didn't it? We were insanely lucky with Broadchurch to have the cast I was acting with were just second to none.
Go back to acting, or are you writing now?
Acting's my main love.
Is it? Yeah,
but I'd love for this to, if possible, to run parallel to it.
Well, we're all giddy kippers.
Thank you.
Giddy
Do you want that one?
kippers.
You can have that one.
I'll have that one. I'm running with it. Best of luck with Passenger. It's on ITV and ITVX.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, brilliant. Great actors, the pair of them, and it's brilliantly written, really, really funny in parts. And the second episode of that is on ITV1 tonight at 9 o'clock. If you fancy binge watching it, the whole series is on ITVX.
Yeah, and from one giddy kipper to another. On to sport now, and another young Northwest footballer getting his first international call-up. Hello, Chris.
Is that me that's the giddy kipper or the player? Yeah, last week we had Everton's Jared Branthwaite, and now Burnley goalkeeper James Trafford will join England's senior squad for the first time. Trafford helped England win the Euro Under-21s tournament last summer. He replaces the injured Sam Johnston, who's from Preston. Manchester City's Rico Lewis has also been brought into the squad after Harry Maguire and Kyle Walker were both ruled out of tomorrow's friendly with Belgium. The game comes off the back of a 1-0 defeat to Brazil. Goalscorer Endrick later said he was inspired by Sir Bobby Charlton. It was a special weekend for a former England boss, as Sven-Göran Eriksson lived out his dream of managing Liverpool. He took charge of a Legends team just 2 months after revealing he has terminal cancer. And an emotional weekend at Anfield was completed by the sight of former Liverpool player Stephen Darby, who lives with motor neurone disease, at the finish of a 178-mile walk in his honour, as David Chisnall reports.
This was the moment that Sven-Göran Eriksson realised his lifelong dream of managing Liverpool at Anfield. The club's famous anthem sung by a sellout crowd of 60,000 as the former England manager took centre stage at the Legends match with Dutch side Ajax.
Full of emotions, tears coming. It's been my dream club all my life. Even when I had England, I was a supporter of Liverpool, but I couldn't say it at that time. To sit on the bench for Liverpool, that's been my dream my whole life, so now it happened. And it was a beautiful day.
After being told he had around a year to live following his diagnosis for pancreatic cancer, the 76-year-old from Sweden was invited by the club to step in for Jurgen Klopp and manage the Liverpool team.
Yeah, the first time I met him, surprised he came to the dressing room before training yesterday. Great man, great manager, fantastic. It was an honour to meet him.
The match, which raised money for the LFC Foundation, once again saw Sven link up with Liverpool legend Steven Gerrard. And for all the returning Reds involved, it was a day to remember as Liverpool's legends won 4-2.
Well, it's always special to play at Anfield. Also, it's a special day for Mr. Eriksson, for Sven. He can feel now from inside how special is this club, so it's an absolutely beautiful day for everybody.
Well, 24 hours after Sven, another footballing figure was given a hero's welcome at Anfield. This time, former Liverpool player Stephen Darby, as he and his wife, Manchester City Steph Horton, led walkers as they completed a 178-mile charity trek for the Derby Rimmer MND Foundation. Stephen was diagnosed with motor neurone disease while playing at Bolton in 2018, and his brother said he was delighted to see so much support.
The football community is coming together to support the MND community. You know, we've seen it with Rob Burrow and Doddy with the rugby side. So we're doing that now with the footballing side of the community. It's brilliant.
Hundreds joined the March of the Day walk that started at Bradford City on Friday and finished at Anfield yesterday, taking in 17 grounds along the way, including Wigan's DW Stadium.
This walk is the most amazing thing I've taken part in. Because it raises masses of awareness. The funding, we want to find a cure, and whilst we're trying to find a cure, we need to support people to have a good quality of life.
I think people know now just how much of an awful, devastating disease MND is. The support we've had along the way has been incredible. You know, people stopping, donating money, cash, giving the people cash. Long may it continue, and hopefully by the time we get to Anfield, it'll be up to nearly 200,000 raised, which will be amazing.
It's been an incredible weekend of fundraising on an emotional weekend at Anfield. David Chisnall, ITV News.
Well, across Stanley Park, Goodison Park staged the latest women's Merseyside derby. 9,000 fans watched Everton and Liverpool play out a stalemate. A goalless draw was enough to lift Liverpool up to fourth and above Manchester United, who lost their derby match 3-1 at the Etihad Stadium, watched by 40,000 fans. City remain level on points with leaders Chelsea at the top of the Women's Super League. Stockport County are just 6 wins from guaranteeing promotion to League One after a major win at the weekend. They were up against one of their nearest rivals for promotion in MK Dons, but they destroyed them 5-0 at Edgeley Park and now sit second in League Two. Crewe look a strong bet to secure a playoff spot, despite being held to a 1-1 draw by Wimbledon, and Barrow are also comfortably in the top 7 after their 1-0 win over Newport. Morecambe, Tranmere and Accrington all lost, but Salford City were 2-1 winners at Notts County. In Rugby League, the draw for the Challenge Cup quarter-finals is tonight, with reigning champions Leigh in the last 8. Amila Hanley, the son of Wigan legend Ellery, scored a hat-trick as Leigh fought off a strong challenge from Championship side Featherstone to win by 26 points to 14. Meanwhile, Warrington Wolves hammered London Broncos 42-0, so they will join Leigh, Wigan and St Helens in the quarter-finals.
Getting that winning feeling. FOW, sponsors of the Granada Sport Report.
And finally, to an incredible feat of endurance racing. Jasmine Paris from Hadfield in High Peak has become the first female runner to complete one of the world's toughest races. Since becoming a 100-mile event 35 years ago, only 20 people have completed the Barkley Marathons in Tennessee, and Jasmine, who's 40 years old, is one of them. She had to speed up for the finish line to just sneak under the cut-off time of 60 hours. And you could see what it took out of Jasmine at the end. 60 hours running. Absolutely incredible.
Cheers, Chris.
Now, Mary has details of the ITV Evening News at 6:30. Coming up in the programme, the UN passes a resolution calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The US didn't veto the measure, marking a change in its previous position. We'll have analysis into what exactly this means for Israel as tensions continue to grow between both the US and Israel over the offensive in Gaza. Also tonight, the UK government says China is becoming increasingly assertive after accusing the country of a cyber attack on the Electoral Commission in 2021. And after 30 years of service to Warwick Castle, a well-earned retirement for Ernie the Owl. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Now, here's a great story with Easter coming up. We've all heard of therapy dogs and even cats, often used to brighten up the day. But now there is a therapy chicken at a retirement village in Lancashire.
Yeah, in fact, there are 10 therapy chicks there, donated by a local school teacher. You could say they were going cheap, but perhaps you shouldn't. They're being reared and cared for by staff there, and it's hoped that they'll bring a sense of routine and community.
And a few eggs into the bargain. In fact, we must warn you that Paul Crone's report does contain some extraordinary bad puns.
It's a real coup for staff and residents at Buckshaw Retirement Village near Chorley, with their very own ensuite accommodation. 10 chicks have stolen the hearts of those living and working here. The arrival of the feathered friends is designed to give those living here a sense of routine and community. And from the look on the faces, it's working a treat.
I like particularly the pleasantness of them, and they give everybody a boost, including me.
You've got to make sure that they're well housed, well fed, and make sure there's no foxes come visiting.
Before moving into the retirement village, many residents had pets at home. This is a chance for everyone to lay their affection for the animals on thick.
Just because people come into residential or nursing care doesn't mean that that is the end. We should be striving to make their lives meaningful and give meaning to their lives for however long that is going to go on.
So the residents are even going to name the chicks. They put all the suggestions into this box. They'll be drawn out. What have we got? Suggestions include Frankenstein and Yelly. Although the chickens will eventually start to lay eggs and start to repay their rent on their high-class hen house, hatching a plan to make those looking after them enjoy life to the full is the main goal.
They're honest. They never try to cheat. They can't do anything but they're right with it. So you can relax completely.
It's going back to those basic, they can stroke the chickens, it's about touch, it's about hearing, it's about seeing the chickens, it's just stimulating all those memories from when they were younger and kind of transporting them back to when they were younger and bringing pleasant memories back to mind.
We wish chickens and guardians the best of luck. Paul Crone, ITV News, Buckshaw Village.
Oh, wonderful idea. Not sure we're going to be ecstatic about the weather, though. Here's Emma.
Why do I need a shower? I've been out in the rain.
The faster you go, the sooner you'll be out. You'll save water too.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
Hello there. I hope you've had a super day and a good start to the week. It was a little bit miserable this morning and very windy across the Isle of Man, but the winds have been easing through the day. We are expecting more rain and heavy showers right the way through this week. That includes Easter weekend, but we'll keep you posted on that nearer the time. Some sunny spells around, breezy at times, and also feeling chilly. It did today. It will do for the next couple of days, but actually there's an indication that temperatures will rise towards the end of the week, so it will feel a bit milder then. I had this lovely photo from Gail Gregory today, which reminded me that the pollen season has started. At the moment, mostly tree pollen, but obviously with the weather being like this, not a lot of it around, so counts low at the moment. Taking a closer look then, low pressure dominates in one form or another this week. It tends to assimilate and form one big low by midweek, and that makes things a little bit more straightforward. It sets up this pattern. We call it a bit of a washing machine pattern, the bands of rain spiralling around that, so never too far away throughout the week. As we head into this evening and the overnight period, the skies do tend to clear. It becomes a little bit drier, but there'll be lots of high level cloud around, and so temperatures holding up, light winds as well overnight tonight. And the full worm moon peaks tonight. It's also the first lunar eclipse of 2024. It's a very auspicious full moon. Into tomorrow, a brighter start than today with some clear skies and sunshine there, but it won't be long before high cloud starts to increase from the south there ahead of the next system. Milder temperatures than today ahead of this system, but then the rain will push northwards. It then tends to clear. Sunny spells and showers Wednesday, Thursday, some of them heavy with hail and thunder Thursday, Friday. The wind starts to get up too, but then turning milder. Bye-bye.
United Utilities sponsors ITV Granada weather.
I really want to know what they decide on with the names of the chicken. Got Crony tickled, didn't it?
That's quite an earth of that. Good night.
We're here all week.